Thank you. Well, my name is Keith Howard, and I remember coming here vaguely. I was about 5 years old, and I can remember seeing a long row of seats in this corridor, which was a train. And we came from Alabama. My father came here because of his brother, who came from Alabama first, who moved to Tiburon. He was a taxi cab driver down there. So my father was very ill, so my brother went back to see him, and he says, "You're coming to California," like many of us probably experienced who were coming here. Their families told them that, come to California, come to this area. So we came out because my father was ill, not necessarily for the war effort, because he was sick. And so we lived in Tiburon. Shortly after that, we all came, and at that time it was 7 of us. 7 kids and 1 mother on a train from Alabama. You can probably imagine that. I was one of the youngest, and I had a younger brother than me at the time who was the baby. I remember coming here, starting school at the Manzanita. I remember transitioning from Tiburon here to the warehouses, or the old transition from the warehouses, and we lived up here in the headlands. And I can remember seeing the 101, the traffic, going to school at the Manzanita school, and my mom leaving me and crying, of course. That was one of the memorable things I think of, mama taking off, going to school. And I grew up here. My father came here, and he was a young entrepreneur, I guess you could say, like with his brother. They were real close together, so they probably fought a lot in age, competing. So my father came here. He was ordained a minister in 1959. So he was an associate minister with the First Missionary Baptist Church. And I remember first, I guess it was Reverend Smith, and then it was Reverend Henry. And we were where the Cornerstone was then. It was just a little small 1-room building almost, and with a pitched roof. And then my father was associate minister then. Then the church moved across the street to where it is today, the First Missionary Baptist. And my father was an associate minister for 40 years, or 30 to 40 years there. And he also came here with an idea. And that idea, well, back home he had a little small store, if any of you from the South, which many of us are. And the store was right attached to the house. I can remember a little bit of that. And so when he came here, I guess he couldn't find a spot or a piece of real estate. So he bought an old truck. And back in the day, they didn't have the big semis that the supermarkets we have today. They just had candy and cigarette trucks that delivered most of the goods to the stores. And there was a fleet of them. And my father bought one of their old trucks, which was a turn van. It was a 1-ton, walk-through big old truck, And he stocked it with dry goods and canned goods. He got a small business license, and he serviced this community, 6 days a week. I miss my father. But I think he played an important part in many families here. This truck, they used to kid me when I was a kid. They called me Blue Truck because the trucks was always blue. But he supported 10 kids right here in Marin City. One of us went to college. All of us graduated from high school at least. And the one thing that I regret in my life, the one thing is I went to college at San Luis Obispo, California Polytechnic State University. And the one thing I regret is I didn't finish college. I look back and I reflect on that. And this is the achievement school, and it's important. Because you have no future. You have no future without a college degree. I mean, you can be alive and live, and you can get the handouts and California is good for that. We have a good system, a good fallback net for people who are unfortunate. But as a carpenter, I became a builder in 1972. I was a senior in high school. It's a Bay Area Equal Opportunity Program. And I forget his name, Joseph something, but he asked me did I want to be a carpenter. And I just said, well, I'm just in high school, you know, and I'm only 17. He says, well, that's how old you got to be. And I became an apprentice carpenter, 35 here in San Rafael for a summer. And then I went back to school because I was actually I was a junior, going to be a senior that summer.
What makes Marin City unique?
Again, like Mr. Bonanza said, the people here. It's a certain camaraderie that we have. When we look out around other neighborhoods, everybody's pitted against everybody else, and this is everywhere today. But Marin City has a unique thing about it, is that it's a family, it's a community, and it's a village that we look after people. You know, Miss Stover's been here for 50 years in the same place here, you know, and all of these people are slowly going away, you know, and there's no one else to show the young kids, you know, what to do, where to go, resources, who they can be, or things they can do, aside for just the things that are out there in the neighborhood, which aren't always positive things.
Okay, we're gonna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that time.